Let's load in the image into Fiji. So here we have an image of different dislocation loop types in an iron chrome aluminum alloy. We want to pick out the 111 type dislocation loops. So these are loops that show up as open ellipses. And so there's an example of one here. The first step is to make sure that we have our settings correct for the measurement. So we go to Analyze, Set Measurements, and in here, these are the selections that we want. We want to make sure that we have the centroid and the fit ellipse and the bounding rectangle boxes selected. Additionally, the other ones are sufficient as well. We want to make sure that we do add to overlay. So that way, when you draw an ellipse, it stays on there so you know the loops that you've counted. So click OK. And then we're going to go up to the elliptical selection. Select elliptical selection by right-clicking here. And that will change it to an ellipse. And then we'll start counting the loops. So we go from the maximum black contrast to the length of the sample. And we down select. And then we make sure that the minor axis here is also correctly selected. And then I'm going to use Command M, and that will give us the measurement of our first loop. So it records the XY positions here, the bounding box positions here, and then the major minor axes are the ones that we're trying to capture. So we want to make sure that those are in there, and then it adds a label. So this is loop 1 and the results here. So go through and we'll select a couple of loops. So we would call that an additionally a 111. This one I would also call a 111. This one here as well. And so what we're looking for is black contrast with white contrast in the middle to call it a 111. So this one here is very thin, but it has white contrast still in the middle. So I would call that a 111. Similar to this one, it's just a larger loop. Additionally, call that a 111. This one here would also be considered 1 as well. So we'll just go through and label most of these loops. This one here is a 111 just with a line dislocation through it as well. Down here. And for some of these, we may have to blow up the image. And you can see the white-black contrast here for this one as well. If the loops are questionable and if they're a 111 loop or not, they should have preferred orientation. So you can see how most of the loops are either going in this general direction or 90 degrees to that one as well. So that should also help in its identification. Examples of other loops that I wouldn't count but maybe have that black-white contrast, I wouldn't count this as a 111 loop. It's difficult to tell. Additionally, this one here, although it has an open ellipse, it's a 100. If we zoom in on it, you can see how it actually is black, white, black contrast instead of white, black, white contrast for the loop. So we would identify this one as being a 111, but not this loop here. Additional ones that we would count are here. And then this would be another loop that we don't count. Within here, though, there is a questionable loop. So sometimes these C-shaped loops are actually 111 loops intersecting the free surface. And so we would count these as well. And we try to match the aspect ratio to be correct. Let's see if we find another example. This here could potentially be one, but because you don't see the closed loop contrast right here or right here, I'm not counting that as a 111. So we would go through and count all the additional loops on the image, and then we would make sure to save this as a TIFF, as it saves all the overlay files in it as well. So we can just save this as the labeled TIFF. And then you would want to also save the results page So we can just save that as well.